Hey there, welcome back to my camera collection. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Sony CCD-FX730v. We'll be taking a look at the build on this camcorder. We'll look at the specs and the features. We'll go over some of the test footage on it, and I'll give you some of my opinions at the end of the video. So I apologize if I look a little sweaty or glistening, if you will. Well, I'm in my new house. I'm trying to figure out a new way to set up the desk here. I know the walls are a little blank looking, but yeah, this is where we're at for right now. And I've just been really eager to make a video because I've been holding on to some cameras so that we can talk about it. If you didn't know, I bought a house and I was in the process of moving in and stuff, and just kind of took a little hiatus so that I could work on that whole process and everything, getting moved in and stuff. Still not fully moved in. I don't have AC, so I'm currently sweating my ass off. But I'm not technically living here yet as of recording this video, but we'll get there at some point. So yeah, that's really what we've been doing. I had other things in mind that I was gonna say, and I completely forgot about it. Oh yeah. So at any point in this video, make sure you check the description. I'll have a link to a playlist for people who are looking to learn how to capture or digitize their footage. I have a whole playlist on different ways I've done it and reviews on different stuff, so you can go and check that out. Along with compatible batteries, chargers, tapes, and a bunch of different accessories and stuff that I recommend using with this here camera. And along with that, I do sell these cameras on my eBay store, so you can go on there, link in the description as well if you want to go and check out these cameras that I do sell. And I have been doing some drop shipping, so I do have some other products on my eBay store as well if you want to check those out. It's all camera and camcorder related, so if you browse through my store, you may or may not find something that you'll enjoy using with your camera. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. So if you have messed with any kind of retro camcorder, you may or may not have seen one that is a similar build style like this from Sony. Generally, the older Sony TR models and the Sony FX models, the older ones, they'll be black and they'll be kind of having this, like, I don't know, to me it looks like a little submarine. But what makes this one special is it has, and this is the only one that I've ever seen, it has a colored LCD screen on it and a black and white viewfinder. I was looking around because I seen one of these. I think I found it on, what is it, goodwillfinds.com. I was browsing around on there and I found one of these and I was like, whoa. So I ended up looking on eBay and found this one. Paid a little more for it than I really wanted to, but yeah. So when I was originally looking it up on eBay and stuff, I was putting in the Sony CCD-FX730, and it'll actually come up with a like VCR. And I was like, well, that's not right. I know that's similar. And so it had, like, you know, the suggestions when you put it into the search. And I seen an option for the letter V at the end. I was like, okay, let's see what that one is. Is it the exact same? Do you have to have it specific for it to pop up? And yeah, sure enough, you have to have the V at the end for this camcorder to pop up. So the FX730 is like some kind of a VCR, and then the FX730v is this camcorder. So it's so random why it does that. But I mean, it pretty much just looks like any other like FX model camera. It's just the only one that I've ever seen that has a LCD screen on it. And what's really cool about it is I usually see it with like Panasonic cameras. I don't see it very often, but you can see that the screen actually opens up wider than like 90 degrees. It's like, what would you say, like 120? I don't know. I'm not good with geometry. So yeah, because usually they open up to about there, but it actually opens up way out there. So you can actually do playback if you want to like show someone a clip, and you can open up the screen farther and show your friend what you just filmed. Now, it is that 90s flimsy plastic sound to it. It'll make a lot of noise and creak and crack and stuff like that. So I'm not sure how much this was when it originally came out, but I assume with it being a FX model with a screen, you probably would have been paying quite a bit for this. So I think what I'm going to do for now on, just to make it easier on my end. I don't know if you guys like it the way that I've been doing it for a long time, but usually I'll go over the like the specs of the camera, and then I'll go over like the entire physical features on it. That's a lot of editing on my part and a lot of useless information in my opinion. So I'm gonna try and like condense it and keep all of the like no shit Sherlock kind of features like out of it, and I'll just try to combine them both into one little segment. So let's go over the features and the specs. So this camera is from 1994. It records to video 8 tapes, or 8mm tapes. Now the lens thread diameter on the front, it is a 52mm, so it's like the same as the the Sony VX1000. To me, I find 52 is kind of a rare size for a filter thread. You can, if you want to try and use this for skateboarding or any kind of like action sports, you can find 52mm fisheyes. I actually have them listed on my eBay store, so if you want to go on there and snag one at a decent price, you can do that. But you can also see that it has a lens cover in there, and so it actually stays closed when you keep it in the off position, the power switch, and it stays off when you have it in VTR mode or playback mode. So it'll only open when you have it in record mode, so that way it doesn't get a dirty or scratched lens. It does have a single CCD sensor in there with a 12 times optical zoom. I hope you can't hear the train. I live really close to the railroad tracks. Yeah, so it's got a 12 times optical zoom, and it doesn't have a digital zoom. Good Lord. Because a lot of cameras didn't have digital zoom back in the mid-90s, early 90s. The focal length on the lens is an f1.8 to an f2.7. It does have auto white balance, so you can't do manual white balance, it's just auto. The illumination range on this camcorder is 2 to 100,000 lux, so that's like the brightness range that is recommended for it. It does have a black and white viewfinder, and you can fold it up in different ways if you want. So you actually has a 180 degree range of motion on it. And the LCD screen is a 3-inch LCD screen, which is kind of weird. Usually you see either a 3.5 or a 2.5, so you kind of rarely see a 3-inch. But the LCD screen makes a very specific 75,816 pixels. That is what I could find in the user manual online. It also has a 3.5mm headphone jack and a 3.5mm microphone jack, so if you want to run an external microphone on this, you can do that with monitoring your audio as well. Just make sure it's a powered mic, a self-powered mic, because generally camcorders don't power the mics like a DSLR does. So one that has a battery that will power the mic. It also has a 2.5mm LANC plug-in, a wired remote control for controlling the recording and zoom and all that kind of stuff. And the power supply on this is a 7.5 volt, which is generally just a dummy battery that will go on the back here, and along with a mono AV in and out. So you have your yellow and your black. So the black is usually the white on your AV cables. So you have your video and your audio. And you can have that as an in source. So this can record external videos onto the tape, or you can externally output the video on the tape to some other source. Along with that, it does weigh 2 pounds, 7 ounces. Now, I don't know if that's with a battery and a tape in it, but that's what the user manual said. And since it has a mono AV in and out, you do get a mono microphone here on top as well. And in my opinion, the microphone sounds really awful. I don't know if it was just the way that I captured some of the footage that I used. I did a review on the ClearClick video to USB, and that uses OBS software to capture your footage. So I don't know if it was the software or if it was the capture device itself, but yeah, the audio sounds just terrible on this. Another thing that I enjoy is you don't have to go into a menu or anything to adjust the brightness for the LCD screen. Usually the volume button for the playback is on the screen as well, but it is actually, my lighting is awful, I apologize, but we have B-roll for a reason. It's right under the big playback speaker you have here, and you can change the playback audio to be louder or more quiet. Right here where this little blue button says eject. Now, my battery for this is dead, but you'll push that and it'll eject, and it pops out this way. You can take your Video 8 tape out and put a new one in if you need. And that about does it for the features on this. Now, if you've seen my live unboxing of this, I was pretty grossed out by it. I mean, who's not grossed out by people who smoke in their house? But if you've been in anybody's house who smokes, anything that's like white or clear or anything will just kind of have a yellow look to it. And I don't know if it's supposed to be, but the clear little window right here to see the tape is like yellow. So I don't know if that's from age, nicotine, or if it's just supposed to be kind of a yellowy color. I'm not sure, but you would think you'd want it clear instead of kind of a yellow tint. But I mean, it doesn't smell like cigarettes now. I guess it still does kind of smell. I mean, you got to put your nose like right up on it, but with it sitting in the room, your room's not going to stink. I mean, you gotta really like get your face on it. So that generally brings the value down, in my opinion, on camcorders, but this one works great, and I'll get to some other stuff after the test footage. Before we get to the test footage, I'll go over some of the unique characteristics or quirks that this specific camcorder has. I don't know if all of these camcorders have these little quirks and stuff, but this one does. The record button is not very touchy. You gotta kind of push in hard on it to get it to record. And the viewfinder, when you're looking through it, you can't really tell, but it wiggles around quite a bit, and it's mostly like where the focus adjust is. So if you're looking through it and you're holding the camera, the image just shakes quite a bit inside the viewfinder, so that can be kind of annoying, especially if it's too bright outside to see the LCD screen. But if you have it on a tripod and stuff, and you have it, you know, nice and tight, and the tripod's not moving around or anything, you should be fine. One more thing. Now, this camera it works perfectly fine. It's just when I haven't played with this camera for a little bit and I forget. I think it's when you rewind it, you'll hear a clicking noise in the tape mechanism. So I don't know if it has like a real gear that might be cracked or something, but it doesn't have any errors or any problems or anything. What I always recommend people do is, instead of just hitting rewind on the camcorder when you're in playback, because that'll usually rewind the tape like really fast, I'll usually push play and then I'll hold rewind down. It makes the camera rewind slower, but you can also kind of see like the footage as it's rewinding. So if you have an old tape or you have some footage that you've already captured and you want to rewind to the beginning of where you've already captured from, you can see where you want to stop rewinding and then hit play and capture your footage. So that'll also help with not messing up your tape heads on most camcorders as well, because the components aren't spinning extremely fast. So that's the way that I do it. You know, if other people, you know, like to do it the other way, that's fine. But I usually have issues with camcorders when I rewind it fast. But with all those little quirks being said, let's check out some test footage and then I'll give you some opinions on it. So that test footage was captured in Chalice and Salmon, Idaho. That was actually pretty fun. We went up to that area back in May or June, something like that, around that time. So I do really enjoy this camcorder. This thing's really cool. It's very unique. You know, not every one of these retro camcorders are perfect. They have little quirks and stuff that they have issues with, but that's kind of part of getting this old technology. Alright, so unfortunately my mic ended up dying, so I'm gonna go ahead and just cut the video a bit short. I kind of already talked a bit about how I feel about the camcorder, what I like, what I dislike. So yeah, I will have this listed on my eBay store if anyone is looking for one of these camcorders as of recording this video. And if you have something like this or something similar, I will have affiliate links for batteries, chargers, videotapes, and video recorders for anybody who needs those out there. And make sure you check out some of the other stuff that I have listed on my eBay store that will make recording with retro camcorders more fun and easier to use. So thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, and if you enjoy my content, make sure you subscribe, because we talk about old school retro camcorders almost on a weekly basis. And on that note, we'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.